And for more on this, we're now being joined by Stephen Golub, who is a lawyer and a political analyst. And Mr. Golub is joining us live from California. Welcome to the show, Mr. Golub. I want to first start by asking that the ICJ has ruled that Israel must immediately halt its military operations and other actions in Rafah, and has also asked Hamas to release the hostages. How significant is the ruling, and what do you make of it?
It's significant in that it indicates Israel's increasing international isolation in terms of diplomacy, in terms of legalities, in terms of politics, in terms of geostrategic considerations. It will not make a difference, as we're seeing, in terms of Israel's conduct of the war in Gaza, and specifically regarding Rafah. The government and the population of Israel feel that they should go full speed ahead with those attacks. In terms of the legal substance of the ruling, I'm of two minds. Well, really, I'm of 10 minds, but I'll try to keep them to just two. On the one hand, yes, there are valid humanitarian considerations to try to mandate that Israel take better care to protect the Palestinian population of Rafah in particular, and Gaza more generally, including not just regarding military matters, but food delivery and the like. On the other hand, I think you can understand, or it's possible to understand, that Israel, having been attacked in a particularly brutal, barbaric way by Hamas, and Hamas still vowing to destroy Israel and to attack again if it ever gets the chance, Israel feels compelled to go after Hamas, which is hiding behind, or really below, in terms of tunnels, below the civilian population. So it's a very difficult situation in terms of both the legalities and the morality of it, but I can understand the ICJ stepping in. There's one more caveat I want to attach to this, that from Israel's point of view, and I think this is a somewhat valid argument, this is a bit unusual, or somewhat unusual, for the ICJ to take action regarding this type of situation, given the other humanitarian and human rights situations going on around the world, regarding which it has not taken action. But in an absolute sense, again, this is an extreme situation we're seeing in Gaza.
Right. Mr. Golub, 8 months into the Gaza war, and Israel has still not achieved its two goals, that is to eliminate Hamas and to bring back hostages. You speak of how this is an extreme situation, and the ICJ has not taken any other steps in such an extreme manner in any other nation. But do you still think that Israel is being singled out as it flouts the World Court order repeatedly by not providing basic requirements to the Palestinians in Gaza?
You know, I think it's being singled out, but I'm not saying it's wrong that it's being singled out. In that the ICJ is using its influence, using its legal mandate to try to afford better protection to a really drastic human rights and humanitarian situation. So again, I'm afraid to say I'm of two minds about this, but I can understand Israel's point of view in terms of it feeling singled out, but the ICJ's point of view in terms of making this ruling.
Right, Mr. Golub, also talk to us about how this ruling has put the U.S. In a conundrum, as Washington is stuck in terms of whether and how much to support Israel as the humanitarian crisis increases in Gaza.
Yeah, the U.S. and the Biden administration in particular is stuck between a rock and a hard place in terms of wanting Israel to restrain its conduct and having issued warnings to Israel to do so. But on the other and having political imperatives in terms of losing some votes in the November election of President Biden versus Mr. Trump if Israel continues along this path. But on the other hand, strong political arguments and strong political forces in the U.S. wanting the Biden administration to support Israel wholeheartedly. So it is, as you quite rightly said, a conundrum, both in terms of strategy and in terms of policy, and for the Biden administration, for President Biden in particular, the politics of this. This could hurt his re-election efforts.
Mr. Golub, just a final word on genocide, because today's ruling is a part of a broader lawsuit brought by South Africa last year, accusing Israel of genocide in Gaza. Explain to us, what impact will the World Court ruling have on that?
It's a step towards a possible ruling regarding genocide, personally, I feel that such a ruling would be unfair, unjust, and not legally accurate in that Israel has not taken steps to wipe out the Palestinian population as a whole, or in deliberately in a significant regard, notwithstanding the massive losses of civilian life in Gaza that has taken place. So I think genocide would be a step too far, even if we do want to justify what the ICJ's rulings in other regards. On the other hand, we also have to keep in mind that there are persons within the Israeli government, two leading cabinet ministers in particular, who have made noises, who are supported by forces, who are advocating really the expulsion of Palestinians from the West Bank and Gaza. And that, again, may not be genocide, but that is really quite a violation of international law and any sense of morality.
Right, Mr. Golub, thank you so much for taking our time and joining us here on WION with your insights on this historic ICJ ruling.